Hello, this is Wolfgang Müller speaking. I'm the founder of Blue Dolphin, the first community, international community of people and companies that want to reach hyperproductivity based on self-organization and theory of constraints. And part of this is, as I introduced in the basic tutorial, get rid of the too much WIP, too much work in progress. That's the precondition for everything else. So we invented and programmed this SmartPipeliner Excel tool to identify the constraint, make sure that the constraint is not over or underloaded, and stagger the projects according their strategic priority to find a good balance and get the optimum out of the business. So that was part one. That was a basic tutorial. Here in this tutorial, I just show two advanced features, not necessarily important for the daily work. One is the capacity model behind the SmartPipeliner, and the second one is the mass import functionality to get very fast all the projects or initiatives or releases or whatever, all the planning data into the sheet. So I just share the screen for the Excel. The SmartPipeliner you already know. So it's a current version. And in the end, it's all about the capacity data. So part one. As you remember from the tutorial, we have in the example 3 teams with responsible people. And we already did the staggering in the basic tutorial, so no one is overloaded. That's perfect fit. And the two criteria, or the two main data to determine the capacity is the project quota and the headcount as full-time equivalents. So a 1 means that there's overall 1 person available for projects. So very often we see that in a team or so are 2 people or 3 people or 4 or 5 or 7, but not all day available for projects. That means some people are part-time, some people are not available currently, so the full-time equivalent is lower than just counting the people. That is this, the full-time equivalent. And even if they are at the desk, they typically have daily work. So 100% means every minute they are at the desk, they are available for projects. A 75 means 25% of their time they are doing daily work. So that is the input data that I already explained in the last tutorial. But the interesting part is how to get out of this data the number of person days, the capacity, the network capacity of the people available at the desk. Not at the desk, really, for initiatives, strategic initiatives. So, and in the capacity data sheet, you see for each month, for each skill or team or role, the available capacity. And how is this capacity calculated? It's not very complicated. As you remember, in product management, we have exactly 1 person. So you see that it's varying between 15 and 19 person days. And you already can a little imagine it has to do something with calendar. It has something to do with vacancies and illness days and stuff like this. And it's just a heuristic just to determine this. So what this Excel sheet here or this sheet is doing, it simply takes the number of people, their project quota, and the available working days per month. And out of this, including the full-time equivalents, they calculate the number of available working days, the capacity. So you see it's more or less the working days per month, the project quota, and the FTE. So and the only interesting part is this, how to determine the available working days per month. and that is done in a different sheet at the end, the capacity model. And this looks a little awkward, but in the end it's straightforward. All the yellow parts are defined by you. So the first thing is you have to determine how many days at the desk are available. So, and very many managers are doing this wrong. They think 52 weeks per year multiplied by 5, that's a number of, and then of course, yes, they have vacation times and they have illness times. So we currently in Germany, we calculate something around 205 days. Sometimes there are events, company events on Christmas time and in summer and stuff like this. So even these are subtracted. So we learned in our past that 205 days at the desk is a reasonable number after vacation, after illness, and after special events. And that's the base. And typically you can divide this by 12, and then you have the rough number of working days per month. But in reality, each month has different working days. So that can be calculated by Excel. That's not a big issue. And what we also do is there's a calculation of bank holidays. So you do not just have working days, but also bank holidays. So we reduce the working days per month by the bank holidays. And you already see in April, there's a lot of bank holidays. So you just have 19 days really at the desk in 2022. So, and the next thing is this envelope. So even then, if you have the right number of working days per month, it's not even equally distributed in some months, e.g. in August and September, that's a vacation season in Germany. You have more people that are on vacation, or around Christmas, it's even worse. There are real weeks with illnesses and stuff like this. This data is coming out of statistical analysis over the last years. You can adjust this, take this, or make everything to 100%. That's also fair. So if you have statistics, you can adjust this, but you can leave it as it is. The interesting part it's really counting working days by the calendar, reducing by bank holidays, and modifying a little with the typical illness and vacation distribution. And out of this, the brutto working days per month are calculated. So it's a somehow interesting, sophisticated stuff. Most interesting is how to calculate bank holidays in Germany, and the result is this distribution envelope curve, how it's a little distributed. It's plus minus 10% per month, and then you have a real clear information about the capacity you have per month. Then you can add the project quota, and you can multiply it with the full-time equivalents, and then you have the real and a very good idea about the capacity you have per month. And this capacity information here is taken into the team balancing sheet as the capacity here to calculate the load and the overload. So that was part one. How to determine your real capacity. In practice, it's not so important because in the end, we do here a rough planning, and you don't know what the future will bring. But we learned that it's very important for the companies and the manager to have here reliable data And if they understand that you are not just using rule of thumb, but really calculating stuff that helps them to feel more secure and make it easier for them to believe what you're showing. Sometimes there are discussions then, of course, why it's just 205 days, but these are also very important discussions so that they understand that 10 developers are not 1,000 person days, but very often much less. Okay, that was part 1. So thank you for listening and your attention. It's just 2 advanced features of the SmartPipeliner. One is the capacity model and the other is the import. Feel free to do experiments with this. You can always do a copy of the SmartPipeliner, of course, if you do such experiments. But both functions are very useful if it comes to high-scale companies, and we are using the SmartPipeliner with companies of 1,000, 4,000 people. That's no big issue, and then you have to deal with a bigger amount of data and maybe more accurate data to convince managers, and therefore the SmartPipeliner also has functions like this. Thank you a lot and have fun with the SmartPipeliner.